And what I'd tell the president is if he ever wants to come for New Yorkers in the way that he has been, he's going to have to get through me as the next mayor of this city.
If you try to get tough with Trump, the only people who are going to suffer from that are the people of New York City.
Okay. When I'm fighting for New York, I am not going to stop. And I'll tell you something else. If the assemblyman is elected mayor, Donald Trump will take over New York City, and it will be Mayor Trump who runs New York City.
We have to move on.
President Trump loomed large tonight over the race to become New York City's next mayor. In the first general election debate that we saw, it featured the Democratic nominee, Zohran Mamdani, the former governor, Andrew Cuomo, who is now running as an independent after losing to Mamdani, and the Republican nominee, Curtis Sliwa, who, and as we watched all this play out, oftentimes on that debate stage as they were taking questions, the political attacks turned very personal.
He has never had a job. On his resume, it says he interned for his mother. This is not a job for a first-timer. Any day, you could have a hurricane, you have, God forbid, a 9/11, a health pandemic. If you don't know what you're doing, people could die.
Mr. Mamdani, you want to respond?
And if we have a health pandemic, then why would New Yorkers turn back to the governor who sent seniors to their death in nursing homes? That's the kind of experience that's on offer here today. What I don't have in experience, I make up for in integrity. And what you don't have in integrity, you could never make up for in experience.
Yes.
Joining me now, CNN's Gloria Pashmino, who has been following this debate from Rockefeller Center. Gloria, that was quite the debate. A lot of moments that clearly stood out. As someone who's been covering this race as closely as you have, I wonder what your biggest takeaways were.
Look, Caitlin, the big question going into this debate was whether or not Andrew Cuomo was going to be able to sort of make out any clearer lane that he's been able to do so far, and whether or not he was going to be able to capture more support by performing in any different way. And we saw Cuomo sort of start out by trying to be a bit joyful, by trying to be more energetic, but eventually he retreated to much of what we've seen over the past several months, attacking Mamdani over his lack of experience, some of his proposals, and trying to point to his own executive experience as former governor of the state of New York. But as you mentioned, President Donald Trump looming large over this debate. There were several questions that were brought up throughout the 2-hour debate about how these candidates would deal with a Trump administration. And we've seen Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic nominee, constantly try to tie Andrew Cuomo to President Trump. And we know from our own reporting that Trump has been very interested in this race. He has said that he believes Cuomo is the better candidate. There were a few times during this debate that it turned slightly personal, particularly over Mamdani's identity as a Muslim. In fact, he would make history as New York City's first elected Muslim mayor, and he pointed out that Andrew Cuomo had not started to campaign in that community until now. Take a listen.
His divisiveness
can you address the question
is
that we're putting
chronic.
to you? I think you've made the point, but can you please answer about your own relationship with the Muslim community? You did not visit mosques for many years. More recently, you have been.
Yeah, I don't think in any way the assemblyman is representative of the Muslim community, which is a vital community in New York City, and I am very fond of, and I've been working with.
It took me to get you to even see those Muslims as part of this city. And that, frankly, is something that is shameful and is why so many New Yorkers have lost faith in this politics.
Yeah, except that is totally false. I've worked with the Muslim community for many years.
Name a single mosque you went to when you were the governor. Can you name a single mosque you went to in 10 years?
Before you were ever here. They were
before I was here.
Before you were even in state government.
Caitlin, I do also need to mention the role of the Republican candidate in this race, Curtis Sliwa, who has never had government experience, has never held political office, but who has gotten a lot of support from New Yorkers and had a pretty impressive performance during tonight's debate. He was placed in the middle of the two candidates, and he constantly attacked Andrew Cuomo. That is significant because Andrew Cuomo has openly appealed to Republicans here in New York, trying to get Republicans to vote for him and not Curtis Sliwa, saying that Curtis Sliwa is not really a serious candidate. But Sliwa appeared tonight to have come prepared for that and spent a lot of tonight's debate attacking him. Caitlin?
Yeah, it was quite a moment up there on the stage. Gloria Pejmino, thank you for updating us.
This race is Mamdani's to lose, it seems, at this point. What do you think happens after this debate? How do you think it helps or hurts his campaign?
Well, I'll start by saying that in this debate, considering that he's ahead by double digits, it has been in virtually every public poll, the bar for him was don't F up, and he certainly didn't do that. There were attacks that didn't land, and he defended himself pretty well, and he didn't make a big gaffe. What comes afterward is him trying to sell New Yorkers on his policy. The campaigning is by and large done. It's what he's good at. He's charismatic. He can speak well. But it's time to help business leaders, to help skeptics understand what his vision is and how he seeks to accomplish that. Tomorrow already, he's poised to hold a reverse town hall where he's asking questions of New Yorkers so that he can understand their needs and wants.
That's interesting. I mean, and to your point, I mean, this latest Fox News poll has Mamdani over 50% at 52%. Cuomo is pretty far behind at 28%. So he's starting to, if the question was, can he bring undecided people in, it sounds like he's starting to do that. And to Emily's point, I mean, now this is going to be, what kind of mayor is he going to be?
Let's wait till Election Day, right? I mean, I think the problem is we act sometimes, you know, whoever wins a Democratic primary is coordinated mayor. There's not, you know, winning a Democratic primary is important, but less than 10% of voters of all New York City voted for him. Look, I think Mamdani is an incredibly talented campaigner, clearly. He's quick, and he won tonight's debate on style points. I actually think Andrew Cuomo won on substance, though, because there are issues about his policies and his experience that are absolutely relevant to take into account. Never having a job, never having run an executive office when you're taking on, you know, a $119 billion budget and a 300,000 person office.
Don't you think New Yorkers know that at this point?
No, I don't
mean,
know that they do.
I feel like that's the whole story behind Mamdani.
Well, but there's stuff that we feel good about. I just, you know, this is like, for example, there was a line tonight. Cuomo's been pushing this about, you know, Mamdani not publicizing it, but it believes in decriminalizing prostitution. And he was pushing him on that. And Mamdani said, well, look, I don't think it, you know, I think that it's an issue of economic opportunity. I don't know that that's going to land terribly well. And I also think that
Have you seen the OnlyFans users?
Okay,
you know what?
that's actually a
Great
fair point
point.
because, in this day
That's
and
kind
age,
of hush
but
hush.
yeah.
I think you're right. I think America knows what his positions are. America knows that he's not particularly qualified. America knows the positions he's taken on as it relates to Israel. And I'm not sure the New Yorkers, by and large, are showing that they care. That his campaign style, his energy, all the things that go along with him seem to be outweighing all the negatives. And you know, I know we have an election to come up, but it doesn't look like Andrew Cuomo's catching up.
I'm just saying, like, you know, we've seen polls be off a lot. I'm not making any predictions here. I'm just saying this is a hardcore executive job. And your policies matter. And your experience matters. And those are rational things to take into account when people go to the polls. And let's not count anything
Let
else.
me just play real quick. This is Trump's threat to New York if Mamdani wins. He's made this threat a couple times now. And, you know, I think New Yorkers probably also have to take this into consideration.
We have a communist who's 33 years old, doesn't know a damn thing. Practically, he's never worked a day in his life. And he sort of caught on, right? And I'm not going to send a lot of money to New York. I don't have to. You know, the money comes all through the White House. And if they're going to be sending us stupid policies, I mean, communist policies, we're not going to ruin one of our great cities because we'll make that great.
Can he do that? Should he do that? I mean,
well, I'm not exactly sure how much that every dollar passes through the White House. I'm not really sure how that.
apparently, in this administration, every dollar.
But be what I mean. Look, this is
White
a man from New York, cares deeply about the city, concerned about Mamdani. Yes, he realizes the political positives that Mamdani's victory has in 2026.
For him.
For him. Look, socialism seems to be the word of the day in New York, but it isn't outside of New York, and he's going to be a huge benefit for Republicans.
Affordability is the word of the day in New York and across the country. And Mamdani is somebody who made that the central core of his campaign and never swayed away from it. So irrespective of some of the other style issues and policy issues where he may be somewhat problematic, affordability is what people are ready for.
Affordability is always the best thing, but good candidates and good campaigns matter to win, and he's both.
It's about authenticity and affordability, and those are two things that Mamdani has pushed incredibly effectively.
All right.